All right, guys, back here at Locals again, and we got done with the case room and top 8 competitor Corey. Saw him last time with the dinosaur profile. You guys blew that video. Appreciate you guys. But this time he's showing off a different brand of spikes with the new set. It brought a very new contender with a 1.5 card combo?
Just one card combo.
One card combo. So we'll get into a combo at the very end of the video to showcase what the deck can actually accomplish with just the one card. But we can get into it. What deck did you play?
I played Mathmech. Pure Mathmech.
How's the deck run?
If you see circular, you win pretty much every game. If you don't, you have to work for it a little bit, but it's still solid.
Okay, let's go and get into it.
All right. So first, the new boy, 3 circular, sends for cost a Mathmech to summon itself, and then whenever you normal or special summon a Mathmech, it searches a spell or trap. That's almost always going to search your super factorial, and it's always a 1-card Allen Burschen because you send the Sigma. You play 2 Sigma because you don't really want to brick on it. You're almost never going to banish this because you're overlaying with it, so it just goes back to the graveyard. If you have no monsters in the extra monster zone, you can special it. And it actually came up today. If you use this to synchro for a Mathmech, you can treat it as a non-tuner.
Yeah.
So that's relevant. We've got the normal summon of the deck, Diameter. It summons a level 4 back from grave, just any level 4 Cyberse, doesn't have to be a Mathmech. And if you make an Xyz or a synchro with it, it gives it an Omni Negate for the turn.
That's pretty good.
It is. That card came up a lot. 1 multiplication and 1 Nabla, just for OTKs. This summons any Mathmech out of the deck by tributing a Cyberse. You use that to clear out the extra monster zone. And multiplication doubles the attack of something in the extra monster zone. I had 1 game where I made Sigma with both of these because this can make something level 8. And Sigma unaffected 6k 2 attacks.
So 12k with one monster.
Yes, with double battle damage on monsters if you destroy them. And now for the extenders, play 3 addition, 3 subtraction. They both work the same way. Target any monster, doesn't have to be yours, just any face-up monster. Give it 1,000 attack. I had it come up where I had an Appaloosa at the end of my opponent's turn. I targeted it, boosted it by 1,000, summoned, and now I had an extra negate on my field.
That's pretty good.
This reduces. You can use it to just make it easier to OTK through stuff. And that's it for the monsters.
Looks like the deck sure has evolved.
Yeah. Play 1 equation because it's searchable. It's just a monster reborn, boosted by 1,000, and 2 super factorial for the grind game. This is the original Tri-Brigade Revolt.
Yes.
It targets up to 3 Mathmechs in the grave, summons them back, and then you can synchro with them, and if you do, shuffle back in, or you can Xyz with them. It's disgusting. This almost always makes Laplation, and then you just trish your opponent for 3 with an Omni Negate.
That's pretty good.
It is. And onto the more generic stuff, we got 3 Small World, and then the bridges.
Tell me what that link thing is.
So this, usually you see it in Code Talkers because you can special summon it to a zone of link monster points to. It actually came up once where I was able to use that to make transcode. But typically you're going to go Small World, reveal any Mathmech in your hand, reveal this from deck, add circular. And this is in the deck because you can reveal any hand trap because you play Ghost Girls, you play DD Crow. DD Crow's level 1 to go into this but it doesn't share attack or anything. And then you go from this into circular because they're both light.
Small World's a complicated card.
It's a lot of fun though. We've got that, and then we've got 3 Sign-Up Mining.
This card?
Just search. You typically want to try to bait the Ash before you do this, otherwise you're going -1 for no reason. And then generic cards, more. We've got 3 Dark Ruler. You pretty much have to play this card nowadays. It outs splites. It outs just random rogue decks building a big board because it's not impossible to play through a board with this deck, but you kind of struggle with it a little bit. If your Allen Burschen gets stopped and your circular gets stopped, you don't really have any other plays. 1 called by, because you have if it's not banned, you play it. That's pretty much it. And the hand traps, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 DD Crow, and 3 Imperm.
Best hand traps of the format?
Pretty much, yeah. This could be Ghost Bell if you're kind of worried about it.
Or Ogre.
Or Ogre, yeah. I wasn't super worried about the Splight deck because I've got the Imperms, I've got the Dark Rulers, but This stops all the tier limits whenever they mill themselves and try to fusion summon, and you don't have to worry about chain blocking, which is why I played it over Ghost Spell. This is just the best generic hand trap in the game. And this was specifically for Rogue decks and Splight. And it's just also probably one of the better just generic. If you don't know what if you don't know what to play Imperm, play Ash. DD Crow's good, Ghost Spell's good. Like I was siding the Ghost Spells. And that's it for the main deck. Even 40. Gotta love to see it. Extra deck. Play 1 Link Disciple, 1 Link Devotee. This sets up your Wicked plays. A lot of times you're going to have an Alimbertion on the field to tribute this, but we'll get into that in a second. Then you got the Wicked. This searches your follow-up. It stops you from getting beat over on your Alimbertion or anything like that. 1 Lingeribo. It's free to make because the Devotee, or the Devotee makes 2 tokens, and you're always going to have an extra body, so you can make this and then an IP Masquerena. Your inboard is almost always going to be Wicked, Masquerena, Lingeribo, and then you just IP into the Appaloosa, and then you're going to have the 2 negates there. You're going to have the Laplacian, and then any hand traps you might have. And then we've got the Splash Mage, Update Jammer, Transcode, Access Code to round out the Link package. Cool thing about this card, Nabla and Multiplication also double his attack and give him extra attacks. So if you can't go into the Update Jammer line but you have a Multiplication, you can just make them 10-6 and swing over something. Or you can give it 2 attacks with the Nabla.
A lot of times I keep forgetting this is actually a Cyberburst deck because you make the Synchros and the Expos.
Yeah. Now for the Xyz, we played 2 Alimbertions, 2 Laplacians. It's just for the grind game.
Do you do the add anything? Any spell trap?
I had the opportunity to do it once, but I was already hard winning that game anyways, so I figured I would rather... Because I opened 2 extenders, 2 hand traps, circular, so I could have done it, but I rather just set up the Laplacian on their turn with the Omni Negate, plus the Appaloosa. This is almost always going to resolve detaching 2 to add either diameter or circular, depending on which one you don't have. I had 3 come up once in a different deck. We'll talk about that's for a different deck profile. And then Laplacian is Trish, effectively. It sends from field, it sends from a spell trap, and it sends a random card from hand to the graveyard. Worst matchup is tier limits because of this card. All of them trigger because they get sent, so you want to try to avoid doing that if possible. I had to do it twice against my 3rd round opponent, and both times he got insane value off of it because it sent, because I had to get rid of the monster because it was threatening Poly. I had to get rid of a card in hand, so he just got 2 effects, and then I got rid of the field spell. But tier limit's definitely the worst matchup. I think you need to tech a little bit more heavily for that deck. And
Game.
This card does everything. It towers while it's in the extra monster zone, only except for Mathmech. So you can affect it with Mathmech, which is where the Multiplication and the Nabla come in. It does double battle damage if it beats over a monster, and if it is destroyed or sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add any Mathmech card from deck to hand. This card is disgusting. I won like 3 games just making this 6k and just beating over one thing for like 10k battle damage.
Holy cow. To the side deck?
Yep, side deck. 2 Ghost Spell and 3 Nibiru for the extra hand traps. I don't mind. I don't like this card a lot, specifically the Nibiru. I have it because if I draw 2 hand traps against Splight, it's good. I can kind of punish them for some hands where they have to go, but typically this gets brought in against Rogue decks, gets brought in against Sword Soul because that's still kicking, and really good in the mirror because this deck kind of hard folds in the Nibiru unless you have specifically circular diameter so you can make the Omni Negate before you go into everything. This was kind of mid. I have it. It's pretty generic, so it's not bad to have. I would have rather this have been anything else. I couldn't find my anti-spells. Maybe not Token Collector. Sword Soul matchup's really easy because you don't really care about the Shishao, and you can make Going second, you can make Laplacian to stop the blackout from popping your stuff because you can just detach. It's just got a Denigirso effect. This, I probably would have wanted it to be like anti-spell or something because my tier limit matchup is so bad and they kind of need spells. They don't need a whole bunch of spells, but it's probably better than Ghost Spell in that matchup. Back row, I played triple Cosmic, 1 Duster, just Eldritch. I expected Eldritch here. I think I saw 1 or 2 people playing it, which wasn't bad.
Back row hate.
I would probably play a Reboot if I expected more, but it wasn't really relevant because I kind of dodged those matchups. Sword Soul, we've got the D-Barrier, and just other traps. We've got the Rivalry. Rivalry is really good against tier limits because it kind of stops them from making their generic fusions. This came up really hard against Phantom Knights today because he just activated Rite of Aramasir and then chained this.
They get stuck.
Yeah, and he just couldn't play, so he just scooped. I flipped this against Sword Soul twice and kind of just won the turn after. So it's still really good at stalling. It's also good against tier elements if you're going first. Just stops. They just do all their milling and then just activate and you just chain it, and then they just kind of end their turn. But that's about it.
Any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to AFG. Always hooking everybody up with some good quality accessories. We got shoutouts to Ghost Gaming. They're the homies. They always kind of support everybody around here. And shout out to my boy Quan for getting first, and Houston for getting, I believe he got second. Yeah, shout out to my boy Houston for getting second. And like the video, subscribe, and just keep an eye out because I'm gonna be working with trying to get a lot more spicy deck profiles out there.
Yeah, Corey already got Spice. Like you saw the Dino profile if you haven't already. That was a pretty solid deck profile as well.
And then you said something about a combo?
Oh yeah, let's do the combo at the very end.
This.
You just said the one card.
Yeah. You just need to open circular. I'm gonna just pull everything out real quick and make it easy.
Because you gotta grab a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna. This is gonna be all off one of these.
Yeah. So you're gonna start. You're gonna activate this effect. You're gonna send Sigma to grave.
From deck.
Or yeah, from deck. And it's cost, so they can't ash it or anything. You special this. You don't have anything in your extra monster zone, so you can special Sigma. That'll trigger the circular to search the super factorial if you don't have it. If you already have it, you can just search equation as an extender or for some follow-up plays next turn.
Pretty good.
That goes into your Alimbertion, which triggers on summon to detach 2, add the diameter to hand. Then you're gonna normal the diameter. You summon back either one of these. It doesn't really matter. So you summon back.
Oh, because you have it normal, you get that. You get the Wolf Bark effect.
Right, effectively. And then you're gonna link this off for
Link, dude. The link devotee.
for disciple.
Disciple. Yeah.
You're gonna link this one off for devotee. And then you have 2 options here. You can either use Alimbertion's effect on field to tribute the devotee to summon one of these back. And this is always going to get you your Lingaribo, your IP Masquerada, and your Wicked. Or you can tribute the devotee to this effect to draw a card, put one back. If you kind of like have a brick in your hand or something, and you want to try to draw a hand trap. But you're not going to have the Lingaribo, which I think is really relevant right now because I've heard a lot of people talking about main decking evenly matched.
Side deck, man.
I travel in the circle with like a bunch of like rogue players, so I talk to a lot of Mech Knight people. Yeah. Shout out Shannon Long. Anyways, but this is gonna get you your 2 tokens. If you tribute it to summon this back, you're gonna have the extra body. You're gonna go token plus the disciple into the Wicked. Then you're going to link the other token off for the Lingaribo. You're going to trigger this, banish the devotee, search a follow-up. You can either search another diameter because it just searches any Cyberse tuner, or I've actually had it come up, you search the Nabla. Because what you can do is if you still have the Appaloosa, and you're going to get rid of this anyways, so you're going to have another space on your opponent's turn. But if you summon If you have that, if you saw the Appaloosa, you can attribute it with this. That's not a Cybers, no. I don't know why, but anyways, this clears out the extra monster zone. You summon multiplication, you make Sigma, and just OTK if you need to. Usually you add the diameter just because that's another Allen version, which searches a circular, which gets you into the access code OTK line. It can also get you into the Sigma OTK line. But then you just link these two off for Masquerena. And then on your opponent's turn...
Basically, you have an out to imperm on your opponent's turn if they draw for turn.
Right. Because you can Factorial. You have Factorial set. If they go to normal summon anything, you just... The first thing you want to do is IP for the Appaloosa. Just because that's the extra 2 negates. It also protects your Factorial from Ghost Bell, which is relevant in this format. So it's just something that you can
And then you
play
get
around.
to summon the Trish.
You're going to target 3 in your grave, which you go through exactly 3. You're going to summon them back, overlay for the Laplation, and because you're using the diameter, it gives it an Omni Negate. And then when this is summoned, you detach up to 3, and then you can hand loop them for 1, you can send a monster from their field, and you can send a spell or trap from their field.
So as soon as they normal summon, you get rid of whatever they had on board.
Right.
Plus you have multiple negates.
Exactly. You got the 2 from here, you got this, plus whatever hand traps you open.
And you got a trap negate.
Yeah. So it's pretty solid off of just 1 card. I was messing with the Mathmech Discord. This card is not okay. This card leads to 1 card Exodia FTK. Not even joking. 1 card Exodia FTK, 1 card extra links, and it leads to a lot. That's assuming they don't interact, but card's ridiculous. It's definitely what the deck needed, but
Card's crazy.
it's a very solid budget choice.
Think about it, that's all off of 1 card. That's the craziest part. You had
Right.
you had 4 other cards in your hand.
Yeah, and you searched 3 more.
Appreciate the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh yeah.
Deuces.
Peace.